Let's sing a song full of hope, full of pain. Why don't you sing along, my friend? For it's our last refrain. Forever young, ever strong, ever brave. Memories like this never end. No, they don't fade away. So when I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, keep holding on. And I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the sun. Close to the sun. Here's to the ones who let shine through the rain, the ones who stood for something more. We won't forget your names. The tide is high, say goodbye, we're setting sail, and all those midnight secrets told, we'll take them to the grave. So when I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, keep holding on. And I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the sun. Close to the sun. So when I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, keep holding on. And I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the sun.
Keep holding on. Keep holding on. All right. Hello, everyone. The Icey Fellowship. How is everyone doing today? I see we got Avery Wing Hugs with all those beautiful wing hugs. Welcome, everyone, to episode 16 of the Icey Lair Podcast. I am your host, the Ice Dragon, Rayron VR. So, welcome. We got a few things to talk about. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be today. You know, normally I like to go for an hour, because that's usually when my voice tends to start crapping out on me. But today may be a little bit more shorter, just because it's not really too much to talk about, but I can definitely ramble. So every time I say that, I usually go for like an hour and a half. So we'll see how it goes. But it's been quite, I don't want to say just kind of a boring week, but definitely on the pop culture war has been definitely getting heated with all the G4 stuff. And I'm not going to be talking about that because for me personally, I am so sick of Frost right now and just all the content that's bashing her in G4. Like, I'm kind of just over it, and I'm starting not to watch those videos because, like, I am definitely getting sick and tired of it. And it's like, can we talk about good stuff now? But we're definitely going to be going into the book of Jangling Keys. We'll talk about Lord of the Rings of Game of Thrones power. And then we'll start looking at space, because there's been a lot of space news and haven't been able to cover it because, you know, we had the icy state last weekend, so we're about 2 weeks off from space news that we got to talk about. So Definitely need to go into that. So we got the James Webb Telescope to talk about. We've got the International Space Station. Some interesting news just broke a couple days ago on that. And we're definitely going to be talking about a lot about that. Just a lot about space. I was able to see a Falcon 9 launch. I didn't record it because of reasons, but I was able to see the landing of a Falcon 9 SpaceX rocket, which was awesome. Happened at Vandenberg Space Force Base. So I'm definitely excited to talk about that as well. But yeah, hopefully everyone is doing great. We've got a holiday coming up here in the United States, which I am excited for. I'm going to take a lot of time off to do content creation, which I am excited for. I am currently reading, trying to think the latest, what manga book am I reading right now? So I've got a video to create. It's going to be the quintessential quintuplets. I cannot pronounce that title. It's such a tongue twister to say the least. But I've got that one coming out. And then I am reading Akoma Ga Kill is that one. And then I put up a poll on Twitter to let you guys decide what book I read after that. And so far, The Black Clover is winning. So I am excited to go into that. I couldn't really decide. And it's like I want kind of an action-y type of, or just, I don't know, just kind of an action-y type of manga right now. Because my mood tends to change depending on what I want to read on. Because right now I was in a phase where I wanted to read like relationship mangas and just very well written characters. And so that's when I went from the Blue Period Volume 5 to Citrus Volume 2, which was freaking amazing. I'm definitely going to be talking about that a lot more on the Mangaverse coming up on Monday. So I did a 30-minute spotlight video on Citrus Volume 2 because, man, it was a great volume to read. Just, it left me with one of the best quotes I've heard in a long time. It was like, if the paved path ends, again, I'm paraphrasing here. If the paved path ends, you need to blaze your own trail. And it's like, that is a quote that's just stuck with me for a while now. So very good manga. I'm a little bit concerned though, because when you end on such a very good note, the other books then have that much higher expectations. And I do have volume 3 and 4 in the ready, and I've kind of read the back a little bit in each, and it has me concerned. So I'm kind of holding off from volume 3 on Citrus for right now, because I want to just savor volume 2. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. Definitely going to be talking about that on the Mangaverse on Monday. So yeah, that's kind of the lineup when it comes to the content on this channel. I've got a couple more videos that I want to make. I've been itching to do 2 different videos. I still need to do the Dragon talks about escapism. That's one that I'm going to create, and I kind of want to not escapism, gatekeeping. Gatekeeping is a topic that I definitely want to talk about, so I'm letting my brain trying to flush it out on how I want to present gatekeeping, and how gatekeeping is really important, and how some of our beloved franchises has kind of fallen to greed and money and to the corporates. And I would argue that I would say about 80% of the gatekeeping needs to be from the owner and 20% from the fans. Again, that's all subjective and relative depending on what you're talking about. So I'm trying to flush out how I really want to do that video about gatekeeping. And then I've got a video that I'm kind of, again, just trying to, and we're actually going to talk about an article in here that I'm going to look into. Matter of fact, I think we're going to go ahead and talk about that right now. So let me go ahead and, I want to talk about that right now. So let's go to display capture. All right. So the first article we'll look into is the really dumb metaverse. Now, this is going to be another video that I'm going to do, and that the metaverse already exists. It's called Second Life. This is garbage. This is a very corporatized version of VR chat, of Second Life, Ready Player One, and so forth. This metaverse is bad. So the Meta launches a personal boundary feature to stop avatars representing users from going within 2 feet of each other. This is BS, to say the least. You might have expected virtual reality worlds to provide an escape from COVID restrictions, but not in that created by Meta, it appears, after the tech giant introduced social distancing. Social distancing online. What the actual fuck is going on? Okay. But not in that created by Meta, it appears, after the tech giant introduced social distancing. Meta yesterday launched a personal boundary feature to stop avatars which represented users from going within 2 feet of each other. Oh my goodness, why? This whole concept of metaverse is ridiculous. But rather than dealing with an airborne virus, it aims to prevent sexual harassment. Users on Meta's platform Horizon, which lets them interact in a virtual location such as cities, county scenes, or cafes, have complained of being groped, hearing explicit and racist language, and seeing others simulating sex. That is what happens when you have a virtual world. We are human beings, and when you hide behind an avatar, the dark side of the mind, the brain is going to go crazy. It's just reality. This has been happening ever since the internet's been created. The world is part of a nascent metaverse. Okay, a growing 3D world of virtual realities and experiences. Horizon Vice President Sharma said the personal boundary tool is a powerful example of how virtual reality has the potential to help people interact comfortably. Oh, man. Yeah. We're getting too comfortable. And look at these freaking avatars. This is gross to say the least. Let me show you guys something. Okay, I'm gonna bring up another picture. That is the metaverse avatars, right? Let me show you. Let me show you guys something. Product. Okay. This is fucking Second Life. It is far more superior than this. Hell, even VR chat is better than this crap. There's something else that I want to find. I'll probably actually get hit with a copyright strike if I show it. Walmart did a metaverse equivalent. Let me actually bring up a picture. Sorry, this is going to be a whole nother video. It's going to be kind of my metaverse Second Life rant. Again, I'm trying to let it formulate in my mind how I kind of want to present it, but right now this is more of a rant. This metaverse stuff is so bad. Let's see here. Ooh, do they actually have a YouTube video on it? Okay, we'll mute it. Oh, yeah, this is from, no, never mind. I'm not going to do that one. Okay, we'll do this. Okay. So this is the Walmart shopping experience for the metaverse. Yeah. You can actually go in here and try to pick it up virtually. You know how clunky that is and crazy this is? First of all, you need a good enough computer to actually go into this virtual space. Second, if you really want to try to be immersive about it, you need $1,000 headset with the HTC Vive and the controllers and so forth. Entry level being close to $250 for the Oculus Rift headset. This is crazy. And it's just to the point that, what's wrong with just going to this shopping cart online on Walmart's regular site? This is clunky and this is just nuts. It is awful. The metaverse is just virtual reality and augmented reality is in my humble opinion, you can agree or disagree, but it is there so we can escape real life, not try to bring real life into the virtual world. And the fact that we try to shop in this virtual world, I don't want to simulate something that I can do in real life, or if I want to shop online, it's going to be more convenient. Like I said, I want to go back to this. Meta versus avatars. Second Life's avatars. Yeah, you can be anything you want in SL. Fuck the metaverse. I'm going to be fighting that one hard. I think that's going to be where my biggest fight's going to be. Because I am passionate about VR. I think the metaverse is just a scummy, slimy way for corporations to take full advantage of it. I mean, we're starting to see it now with these personal boundaries. Like, fuck off with that. Safe spaces. Just, Yikes. Yeah. Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and move into one of our main topics for today. That is going to be the Book of Jangling Keys. The Book of Jangling Keys. Oh, yeah. Before I go into this, there will be spoilers to episode, I think, 5 of the Book of Boba Fett. So if you haven't been spoiled already, or even give any rat's ass about this show, then feel free to watch the stream at a later date. But, yeah. 3, 2, 1. Okay, going into spoilers. Okay, so, Jangling Keys. Jangling Key number 1, Luke Skywalker. Jangling Key number 2, Baby Yoda. Jangling Key number 3, Ahsoka Tano. And then Kane. There we go. I forgot his first name. But we got Kane here from the Clone Wars and Rebels. No. Was he in Clone Wars? He was definitely in Rebels. Anyways. Jangling Keys. So the last 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett barely even had him in it. It was easily the Mandalorian. Some people call it 2.5. Others call it 3.0. Whatever you want to call it. I will admit that I was definitely fanboying over the very fat last episode of Mandalorian Season 2 when, spoiler alert, Luke Skywalker came in and destroyed the Dark Troopers. That was an awesome scene. But again, it's like, I was clapping and cheering and so forth. I was definitely one of those people. But then the more I thought about it, it's like, after that initial scene and after I watched it like 25 times was over, the reality kind of sunk in. It's like, all roads lead to Rey. And with that statement, it's like, how can I get back into this? Baby Yoda, nowhere to be seen in the sequel trilogy. Luke Skywalker, well, we all know what happened to him. Ahsoka Tano, dead by the end of The Rise of Skywalker because she's a Force voice, which is retarded. And then who the hell knows what happens to Kane? Because he's not even on the blip of the radar for the sequel trilogy. There's something to be said. Again, we talk about storytelling. Beginning, middle, and end. The payoff for Luke Skywalker is not there. The other 3 characters, like I said, where are they going to be? Eventually, Ahsoka Tano's got to die. Who knows when that's going to happen? Dave Filoni's got to figure out a death for him. Or, excuse, for her. You know, they got to figure out how Baby Yoda, or if Grogu's even going to die in the temple. And who the heck's going to, I don't know what's going to happen with Kane. But it's just, you know, we talk about the payoffs, and they've got to be good in order for the good story and the good plot and closure for our characters to really enjoy the story. And it's like when I saw that Luke Skywalker was going to be in the Book of Boba Fett, it's like, oh, that's nice. You know, that jangling keys can only go so far, can only carry a show. And cameos can only go so far. And the other thing that kind of concerns me about this is how far are they going to take this technology? CGI faces. It gets to the point that if you're going to CGI character, just animate the character. We have the technology to really do great animation. Why try to do this? Don't get me wrong, I love Ahsoka Tano, but it's just, it's Disney Star Wars. And it's like, Ahsoka Tano, you know, is definitely one of my favorite characters of all of Star Wars. She's just a simply badass. But again, it kind of killed me that, you know, she was a Force voice in The Rise of Skywalker. It's like, oh, well, she dies. She's dead by the time of Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. Man, how cool would it have been for the Book of Boba Fett? How cool would it have been that Kane would be the main antagonist? Let's do a what if here, because I love what ifs. We actually got, so let's, episode 1 of Boba Fett. We get the backstory of how he escapes the Scarlet Pit. We see him going through old Jabba's palace to get his Slave One. Slave One, not Fire Spray. Fire Spray gunship my ass. It's the Slave One. He fights through the guards to get to his Slave One. Realizes that there's a couple parts missing. Okay? We go through the Tatooine market and, you know, we get pieces. He fixes the Slave One in episode 1. And then episode 2, he's got the ship ready to go. Slave One then goes through the galaxy to do bountying. Got to kill people. And then we get introduced into the New Republic, into the old factions of the Empire. We start seeing episode 2. I'm basically rewriting the Book of Boba Fett at this point. So let's go on this little what if journey. And this is probably where I'm going to make it an hour and a half stream. But anyways, by episode 2, we have this world where we see, you know, the New Republic struggling to get peace because we see all this guerrilla warfare going on with the old factions of the Empire. You know, Boba Fett goes to wherever the understates of Coruscant and sees all these bounties. We see bounties from the Empire, or the old reminiscence of the Empire with the warlords. We see the New Republic giving bounties. So now we have a dilemma. There's a lot of money at stake. Boba Fett has to decide which faction is going to pay more. And so he takes a particular bounty. Don't need to show off exactly which side is giving the bounty to Boba Fett. That's the anticipation. And then we see Slave One kind of, he takes the quest essentially. It's going to be quest based because that's exactly what bounty hunting is at its core. And so it's a very linear go after target, get money, quest, reward. But you can make that so much more interesting. But then we got to introduce antagonist. There's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of bounty hunters that want to get also the same loot. Let's take a guess on who we could have gotten as an antagonist. You're looking at him right on the screen. This character could have been the antagonist for Boba Fett. Can you imagine Boba Fett and Kane going after the same bounty? Can you just imagine the red versus blue, spy versus spy, bounty hunter versus bounty hunter going after the same target? Maybe we could have seen that in episode 3. Maybe in episode 2, we would get, a simple bounty quest to establish the world, the state of the galaxy. Maybe Boba Fett takes one quest from the New Republic, one quest from a shattered empire. And in episode 3, Boba Fett's, I think it was 6 episodes. So I'm going to try to go through a story here with 6 episodes. Because it's getting to the point that Disney has failed us, and I'm here to create escapism. So this is going to be my version of Boba Fett. So it's kind of story time with a dragon, essentially. Ooh, that sounds like a good title for a video. But anyways, so we see the state of the galaxy. And we start going on these bounties. And wouldn't it be cool to actually see Bane we see maybe like 10 minutes of Bane taking a quest and doing some bountying as well. And then through their clues of networks to find an individual person, we can see like a race. Think of it as like the Amazing Race on CBS. You get all these clues to try to capture a particular person. And so we see it from Bane's perspective, getting his leads. We see Boba Fett getting his leads to get to the target. Wouldn't that be cool? And then by the end of it, the target is already dead. The target is already dead. And when they go into set target, it's a trap. Then we can introduce the big bad. We can introduce the big bad. And there's plenty of big bads out there that we can use. Wouldn't it be cool that from the background or from a hologram, we get a picture of the big bad? Could be Thrawn. Or, because this is the book about Fett, about bounty hunting, we see IG-88. We see IG-88. And so we have Boba Fett and Bane. They have to team up because now IG-88 is after both of them in this grand scheme of things. Imagine what the last 3 episodes could be. The possibilities are endless. But no, we get stuck on Tatooine for 3 episodes. 2 episodes is pretty much about the Mandalorian and Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka, Baby Yoda for episode 5. Stuck on one planet. This is really, really making me angry because this is not Star Wars. In the 10 minutes that I've described, how cool would have that been to see 2 important bounty hunters going at it, or rivalry, as they go through the galaxy, seeing the state of the galaxy. But again, Disney is cheap. They don't want to pay the royalties for all these named characters. They want to create new ones so that way they 100% own the royalties and copyrights and so forth of their original characters. we just don't get that. And that's why it's like I'm trying so hard not to black pill Star Wars. Star Wars is something that's been ingrained with me for all of my life. I remember the memories of my father taking me to see the special editions, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Before we went to the theaters, we watched the original ones on VHS. So that way we can identify all the differences. It was a game to identify the most differences between the normal edition and special edition. And then getting them on DVD and Blu-ray. And then getting all the toys. Good God. That was... Oof. Getting all the walkers, the chicken walkers, the action figures, the video games, Force Commander, Empire at War, KOTOR 1 and 2, Galactical Battlegrounds, Rogue Squadron, X-Wing Simulator, TIE Fighter Simulator, X-Wing versus Y-Wing, or X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Like, I can go on and on and on. To see what's happened to Star Wars. It's super depressing. Even Star Trek, for that matter, too. But that's a whole nother rant for another day. And that's why we all do what we do, because sometimes we just gotta voice our opinion and fight back against this crap. It's a shame. It's a shame what could have been. And that's why I have gone towards manga. Manga is like my escapism now, like wholeheartedly. When I crave those stories, when I crave the world building, when I crave just good character design and sci-fi and horror and rom-com and just romance and or comedy. Manga's killing it. Anime is killing it right now. Like, I am really enjoying Cowboy Bebop. I'm really happy that I got into Cowboy Bebop now, because you can see the difference between the trope of bounty hunting between the two shows. You can see a very bad example with Star Wars, and you can see a very good example with Cowboy Bebop. It's nuts, the state that we're in right now. Very dark timeline. But yeah, it's really, really frustrating. It's really frustrating. So yeah, that is the Book of Jangling Keys. Because, like, what cameo can they put in there this time? And that's the thing. These episodes are just... There's no consistency. And I also heard rumors that Pablo Hidalgo has been fired. So I think that's a rumor right now. I've been trying to find a good source to confirm that, but I can't. I'm going to keep digging to see if I can find it. The minute that I get a good source, it will be a nicey news. But again, that doesn't solve the problem, because, you know, Kathleen Kennedy's still there. Bob Chapek is still there. Bob Iger is still there. And there's just no way to turn it around. So, yeah, it's such a shame. Such a shame what's going on. The Book of Jangling Keys. Don't know what else to say to that. So let's talk about another franchise that's about to go down the toilet. Oh no. Exclusive all 23 Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power posters are now with high-res extended versions. You want to talk about clusterfuck. Bigger photos of the character torsos give us a better look at the craftsmanship of the Amazon TV series. We have dug deep in the minds of Moria. This is the OneRing.net, which we all know, garbage. Anyways, to find a bigger version of the Instagram posters revealed by Amazon. These are 5% taller, providing a bit more detail to obsess over before the show debuts in September 2nd, 2022. I may or may not be able to do that, because my review... So here's gonna backtrack a little bit. I am moving between July and August, so around September is when I should get settled. I should be settled back in and creating content for you guys, but there will be a time. I'm pretty much going to be at a non-content creating hiatus over this summer because I'm officially doing my Cal exit. I'm moving to Wyoming, which is a beautiful state, and I cannot wait. Content's going to be so good. I am excited for that because I got Denver to the south, Salt Lake City to the west, and I'm just stoked. It's going to be 50% off of life, as Gary calls it, from Neurotic. Because it's going to be 50% off of life, which I am excited for. No characters are confirmed, but fans have very strong suspicions who those posters represent from the race of elves, men, dwarfs, and harefoots. Also, some look like royalty, and according to a new spy report, you can see the legendary Narsil sword in one picture. Again, jangling those keys. Remember this sword? Remember this sword? Remember from the Lord of the Rings sequels? Or trilogy. And then, Discord server advertising. Okay, so there's something that I want to point out. Your show is called The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. What is the one item you should be highlighting and focusing on and branding on? No rings. No ring. 3 rings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rings. 1 ring. No ring. 1 little ring on the thumb. No ring there. 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 There's a small little ring right there. 1 ring there. No ring there. 2 rings there. 1 ring there. There's another ring. No rings. And of course, I think we all can speculate that this is Sauron with no ring. This is business 101. If you want to brand and market and really get people hyped for this show, your show is called The Rings of Power. Why on earth are you not branding that? Why on earth are you not advertising that? Why on some of these posters you're not even showing them wearing the rings? You would think they would have like a cool poster with all the rings like maybe interconnected with one another, or having all the rings in a circle with, the Ring of Power in the center. Show off the uniqueness of these rings. Brand them. Sell them to collectors. I'm taking it from the approach of a business marketing collecting perspective. You can look at these posters and say that there's so much wrong with this. Because Gary from Neurotic really kind of showcases I think it was in one of his nooners, that each one of these posters, male or female and so forth, I don't see the wizards, the kings of men. Your show is about the Rings of Power. What on earth are these characters? And why on earth are you not putting the rings that Lord of the Rings is known for front and center in your marketing? Why are you not trying to sell the products of the rings? Make them into toys or make them into collectible items that people can. You want people to cosplay. Produce the damn rings. Showcase them. Why on earth does this person have 2 of the rings? Are these the Rings of Power? It's just mind-blowing that You have pictures that no one is wearing the ring. A ring. This is Game of Thrones. That's all this is. Joffrey. You know, and I apologize, I don't know the rest of the character names, but, you know, if I were to really dig into these posters, you can probably have a Game of Thrones reference with each one. Amazon, you're going to fuck this up. And you're going to piss off so many people. I have no interest in this. I like the 6 movies that came out and calling it a day. Eventually, I'll read the books because I should read the book. I'm going to. It's going to be a bucket list out of mine to read The Hobbit and the 3 original books. Man, it just baffles me that you call your show The Rings of Power and you're not putting the rings front and center. This is nuts. And some people have pointed out, Sauron's hand looks really small. Looks probably the same as all the other humans. Like, that's wrong. Again, I can nitpick these to death. But I'm just here from a collective standpoint. Like, I am a collector. I think having all the rings front and center, so I know, okay, those are the 3 rings for the elves. Those are the rings for the kings of man. Obviously, you got Sauron's ring of power, the one ring to rule them all. You know, put those rings front and center, so that way I can collect them. It's like, yes, I can put that. How cool would it be to have all those rings? And it's probably, you know, if I were to dig deep enough, I'm pretty sure there's some fan-made rings out there that I can potentially buy, but put the rings front and center. Again, biased perspective because I'm looking at it through the eyes of a collector. But yeah, I don't know what Amazon wants their Game of Thrones, and they're gonna ruin Lord of the Rings in the process. Sad, man, sad. And that's where it goes back to the topic of gatekeeping. For a franchise, I may drop it down to 50-50. You know, for gatekeeping, it's 50% the fans' responsibility to gatekeep, and it's 50% the owner's responsibility to gatekeep. Because the minute you sell it to a corporation, it's over. Greed and money will kill a franchise. That's it. Once that creative process, once that passion is gone, you give it over and you sell your brand to a company, it's over. Look at Marvel. Look at Star Wars, LucasArts. Now Lord of the Rings. The original creators sold their baby to a corporation, and it died. And it died. I don't know what else to say to that. I just don't know what to say to that. All right, let's go to some fun stuff. Let's get out of this depressed mode. Let's go ahead and activate the hope for humanity. Okay, so let's talk about the state of space. We got a lot of news in the space realm. Got a lot of news in the space realm. So, the first one, I actually got to see this land. It was so freaking cool. So in Vandenberg Space Force Base on Friday, they launched the Falcon 9. Now, what's cool about this Falcon 9, to my understanding, this booster was the first time going up into space because this was one of the proposed side boosters for the Falcon 9 Heavy, and it actually got converted into a single booster for the Falcon 9. And what's cool about this, and this shot's perfect. Pauline Alkaline, from Twitter shared this from NASA, looks like. But on the left here, you can see kind of the time lapse of the Falcon 9 rocket going up on the left-hand side. And then the landing spot was right next to it. And came right back down. You can see the landing legs. Now, when this thing landed, it creates a sonic boom. Never knew that. So yeah, you can see the rocket coming in and aligning itself. And then once, like a minute or two before it landed, you hear the sonic boom. And it shakes everything. It was great. It was a great feeling. It was a very great feeling. This mission was a NRO mission, so a classified mission for a payload into space. And you can see the feed. You can see it from when it was taken off, when it deployed its payload. One thing I didn't know about the rocket is that they actually flipped this 180. Ignite the main rocket for a little bit, and then flipped it 180 back to land. Super radical. Super radical. I am going to miss SpaceX launches when I move in the summer. That is probably the one thing one of the few things I'm going to miss about California is these launches. All right, so now we can see the scale comparison of a lot of these rockets. So you got the small little Jeff Bezos's you-know-what. And then we got the Falcon 9 rocket. We got a Saturn V rocket. And then we got Starship. I am excited for Starship. Cannot wait. Okay. So this is going to be the biggest news from space. And this is what kind of is driving the segment of the podcast called The State of Space. So originally, the current administration said that they were going to extend it 10 years. They are keeping their promise on that. But now we've got official confirmation that the ISS will be retired. Yeah, that comparison was pretty cool. I agree. Definitely agree. Definitely agree. This really made me sad, but I understand that this is actually probably a much necessary step into the next phase of space. Because space let's be honest, it's heavily gatekept. Because you basically have to be an astronaut to get into space through NASA. Originally. You would probably have to go under some sort of military service. So it's like you really have to be into a very dedicated career field, either a dedicated scientist, some sort of biological expert, maybe chemistry, some sort of physics, or you have to go through the military to go into space, and it's really rigorous because the ones that I've seen, you can go through one of the 5 services, but you actually have to be a pilot, which that's heavily gatekept because there's so many requirements to be a pilot in the first place. And then after you become a pilot, then you have to go into the more stringent test piloting program. And then you got to be a test pilot. And then once you're done with the test pilot program, then you have to go into the NASA program. So space was heavily gatekept. But now we're starting to see a big shift in that with the rise of SpaceX, with the rise of, Blue Horizon from Amazon, Jeff Bezos? A Blue Origin, something like that, I can't remember. Space is becoming commercialized. Can be a good thing, can be a bad thing, but the reality of it is, it's going to get there. The same can be said for all of other mode of transportations that we've had. When it comes to shipping, shipping was heavily military aspect and then eventually became civilized. We have cruise ships today that sails the open seas essentially. Privatized business. Aircraft was the same way. Heavily militarized first and then slowly and surely became civilized. And there's some small little case studies that, you had the civilian sector had their little test samples and so forth. But space is going that way too. And originally, this ISS was a cooperation effort between us and then back then Soviet Union, now the Russian Federation. And just recently, I think it was early or late last year, the last contracted modular for the ISS was completed by the Russian Federation, marking the completion of the ISS. And now we officially got word that they are going to crash it into the Pacific Ocean by 2031, which is so sad. Like, can you imagine the amount of money? I don't know if this actually has it. Let's go into it. So NASA intends to keep operating the ISS until the end of 2030. After the ISS will be crashed into a remote part of the Pacific Ocean known as Point Nemo, according to newly published plans outlining its future. Launched in 2000, the Space Lab has orbited 227 nautical miles above Earth, and more than 200 astronauts from 19 different countries enjoying stints aboard, representing a continuous human presence in space. Now said that the commercially operated space platforms will replace the ISS as a venue for collaboration and scientific research. And this is kind of a good thing, because now kind of the cost of burden is going to shift from the government to corporate sectors. And again, I imagine that NASA will be the federal agency to make sure that things are, there's going to be a coding operations for that. And just like the FAA that we have today for the airline industry, I can see NASA playing that role as well, which I think is a good thing. We'll see. The private sector is technically and financially capable of developing and operating commercial low Earth orbit destinations, while NASA's assistance. We'll look forward to sharing our lessons learned and operations experience with the private sector to help them develop safe, reliable, and cost-effective destinations in space, said the NASA director. The report will be delivered to Congress, describes in detail our comprehensive plan for ensuring a smooth transition to commercial destinations and retirement of the ISS in 2030. And it's going to go through the decades and the accomplishments of the ISS. So yeah, it'll be a watery grave for the ISS. Hopefully they're able to salvage some parts. But the fact that this giant technological, it's a shame. It really is a shame that they plan to crash this thing. That's going to be one hell of an event. That's going to be one hell of an event when this thing re-enters. That's so sad. But sometimes it's going to be for progress. So this was that video from the Falcon 9 rocket entry.
We can see the landing burn has begun.
And like I said, I was able to actually watch this, and this was so cool. So you can see, and just for the sake of copyright here, coming in, this is where we heard kind of the sonic boom.
Burn startup.
All right, we can see the landing burn has begun.
SpaceX just continues to surprise me. And that is the Pacific Ocean. That is so cool. It never gets old. It never gets old with these Falcon 9 rockets. Just a feat of engineering. From Falcon 9 to the Mars surface. Perseverance rover tracks as it travels across the Martian terrain. There's just something that's just so radical, so cool about getting pictures from a different planet. And that we are well on our way to going to Mars. And then Oh, Scott Manley. I highly recommend you guys follow Scott Manley. Highly recommend him on YouTube. He's just great. He's a smart dude. I found him through Kerbal Space Program, but he's just a super smart dude when it comes to space. So this is like one of the most bizarre fairings for the hyper launch vehicle. I was like, oh, I gotta share that. That's pretty cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the next big thing about space and the future. NASA's James Webb Telescope has reached its final destination, and they are celebrating. And so let's go ahead and go to the Webb Telescope. So the Webb Telescope has finally reached its orbiting spot, the Lagrange 2 orbit. See if we can get... Ooh, this is pretty cool. Oh, this is a 3D... Oh, I'm going to nerd so hard over this. Okay. Oh, this is way cool. Can I full screen this? Oh, come on, NASA. Why you superstar engineers can't make this full screen? Okay, let's close that. Oh, this is cool. Okay. So we know exactly where it's at. Where's Earth? Right there. All right, so there's Earth. We're in this Lagrange point. And like I said, Scott Manley did a very good video about what that means. And so it's facing its direction because there's a sun right there. And basically, we want the radar dome to be pointing in a direction that's obviously not going to be with the sun's interference. And obviously that's where our bottom solar panels are. I'm like super nerding out on this. And then you can see the planets and their orbits. Man, they thought of everything on this. Oh, and the so-called location of the pioneers. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so we got Saturn's right there. There's Mars, Venus. There's Jupiter, Neptune. Please tell me they got Pluto on here. Uranus. I'm assuming this far out orbit. Let's see. Come on, give me Pluto. Pluto's a planet, damn it. What's this? No. Temporal. There's Pluto. Sweet. So yeah, the Webb telescope has been fully deployed, and I think they said it's going to be by the end of February, maybe the end of March, that it'll be fully operational, because they got to calibrate it. That's the big thing they're doing right now, is that each one of these little honeycomb-shaped deflectors, or I'm not exactly sure what they call them, but radar dish or something, each one of these has to be calibrated. I know they're in place, but I think they're calibrating now just to get it right. And it's like, this is supposed to be going on for like 20 years until it has to get refueled. And there's already plenty of missions that are going to go out and refuel this thing so it can last, forever at that point. Our transformer in the sky. To think that this came from a little box. So we see the temperatures here. The hot side is 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Coldest side, wow, negative 360 Fahrenheit. That's crazy. That's cool. That's very, very cool. So yes, the James Webb Telescope is in orbit. That's not what I want to do. That's what I want to do. Okay, I'm going to see if there's anything else we should talk about. Yeah, YouTube is going to be investing in NFTs. Fuck NFTs. That's all I'm going to say about that. NFTs are going to be so bad for the economy. Digitized exclusives. Not even like a product that you can have. You say you have one of a kind. It's so stupid. Let's see. We'll talk about that on the Mangaverse. Yeah, go Jeff Bezos. Let's actually talk about this one. The Dutch people vow to hurl eggs at Jeff Bezos' super yacht, for which a historic bridge will be dismantled. This is when you have this much power, this is not right. So basically, Jeff Bezos is going to have like this super yacht, and where it's going to be built can't get out from like the Dutch port, and so they got to demolish this historic bridge just so he can get his yacht out. What a bunch of BS that is. Good on the Dutch people. Absolutely crazy. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. That's just selfish, retarded. I'm done talking about Star Wars. You guys know the Obi-Wan Kenobi show's coming out. Again, we don't care too much about that. Yep. What a week. What a week. All right, guys. I think we're going to go ahead and call it a stream. We did make it to an hour. And pretty much got through everything. Talking about the... again, something that I want to do on this channel is that I want to do what-if videos. So you guys kind of got a sample of that when I was talking about Boba Fett and Kane, how those two, what if these two actually had a good story and so forth. And that's something that I kind of want to dive more into. I like the concept of what if. Yeah, Avery, definitely agree. Definitely a jerk. Definitely a jerk. I don't know. Boy, my YouTube is really lagging. There's been some issues with YouTube recently. Like, I can see the viewer counts going crazy, which I know is a thing. The chat's really, like, I can see it on... What's weird is that I can see it via the Streamlabs attachment through OBS. Or Streamlabs OBS. But the chat is really not popping up. That's interesting. Really interesting. I'm still streaming, right? Yep. Weird. YouTube's just being super glitchy. Super glitchy. But yeah, something that I want to do is what if stories. So it's like, what if Rey turned to the dark side? Because I've got Dark Side Rey, because I think that's more badass than the actual sequel trilogy combined. I love the idea of a Swiss Army blade lightsaber that folds like that. Super impractical. Like, I like that there's a story in there that, having one of, kind of a little bit of spoilers to it, of Luke Skywalker training a new class of Jedi, and then one of them turns to the dark side. That being Rey. And then Luke has to fight Rey. What if Rey Palpatine did turn to the dark side? All the stories we can tell. So that's definitely something I want to do. All right, so that is pretty much an end to the Icey Lair Podcast, episode 16. As we wind this down, let's go ahead and talk about what's coming up. Let me go ahead and bring up my calendar here and tell you guys what we got going on. So, we're going to be going into the second week of May. Coming up on the 7th, this Monday, we've got another episode of the Mangaverse Podcast. I'll be heavily diving into Citrus Volume 2. And again, I did a 30-minute video on Citrus Volume 2. That's a record for me on talking about one particular manga. It was that good. And again, I'm going to highlight it again on the Mangaverse Podcast. We've got a lot of news when it comes to manga in general that I want to talk about and some of the implications. I kind of want to really dive into manga, kind of how I'm doing this format, bringing up articles, talking about it, talking about the way of the future with manga. There's a lot in there that I want to do. And those shows vary between, an hour and 30 minutes. It just depends on the content. I'm trying to get to an hour-long show. I got to mature the show a little bit. And obviously, I want to bring you guys on. So just like I try to do here. Typically, this podcast goes through Discord. So again, you can find the Discord link down below. And if you guys want to join me on the Icey Roundtable in voice, my little icon is in Discord and so forth. So as far as the other podcast, that's through StreamYards. So again, that way your guys' voice can be heard as well. So I want to bring you guys on. So we got the Mangaverse on the 7th on Monday. And then we'll be back with another Icey Lair Podcast a week from today, back on the 12th. All right, and then we've got the Triple C, Crochet, Collectibles, and Chatting on the 23rd. That episode is going to be hyped because we got our first guest. Tommytron from Geeks and Gamers is going to be joining us on the 23rd, and we're going to talk. This is going to be a little bit different show. It's going to be a kind of a discussion base. Obviously, we're going to show some things off, but really the spotlight is going to be on Tommytron. He's got a great collection of 80s and 90s memorabilia, from Ghostbusters to G.I. Joe to Home Alone. He's got a great collection of VHS, and that's something that he's going to share with us on the Triple C. I am really, really excited for that show. Really excited. So we're just going to be talking about the joys of collecting. So that'll be on the 23rd on the Endless Collectibles channel. All right, next couple of videos are going to be more manga reviews. I am reading like a madman. Like I said, I've got the Quintessential Quintuplets review coming out. I'm working on Kagame Get Kill right now. And then after that, it looks like we've got Black Clover is winning on my Twitter poll. Again, I've got a Twitter poll going on right now saying what book should I read next. I've got Berserk Volume 1. I got Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 0, and then Black Clover Volume 1 as the three options. I couldn't decide because those three are so good. And it's like, you know what? I'll let you guys decide. Tomorrow, I'll have a couple more videos on the Endless Collectibles channel. I did a nice little shopping haul today, and I got some things. So, yeah. So another video coming out tomorrow on the Endless Collectibles. I do apologize. Gaming is kind of on a hiatus right now just because I don't have a gaming computer to really do videos. And the Icey News. The Icey News is hit or miss with me. It just depends. I've been so busy recently with my IRL job and just trying to do all these other things. Icey News will be hit or miss. All right, but with that, guys, I've got nothing else to talk about. My voice is definitely getting a little bit sore, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for episode 16. Thank you so much for coming out today, spending your time with me in the Icey Lair. Thank you so much to the Icey Fellowship, the Icey fandom. And with it, guys, I'll see you on Monday. Take it easy, and obviously, wing hugs to everyone. Have a good night.
Well,